And welcome back to the European LCS Summer Playoffs, where H2K put their foot down and then proceeded to boot it up. Origin's behind. They pick up a win to force us into Game 4. You caught some photos there of the LCS fan wall. Be sure to share your tweets with us on Twitter. Hashtag LCS, hashtag WeAreLCS. H2K back on the blue side. We saw some minor adaptation and pick some bans in terms of what was banned. The first pick, Shen, I felt was extremely important for Kasing, allowing them to get Ryu ahead with those 2-on-1 plays in the mid lane.
Yeah, and also because the Shen is a flex pick, so it made Origin save the last pick for Source because they didn't know where the Shen was going, and therefore they didn't want to pick anything blind, and that put put Peke in that bad position with the Orianna, or with the Ahri pick. Yamada kind of really wants to see an Orianna. I think there would have been a safer pick as well for Origin. The whole combination just didn't really fit that well together.
I still don't like the Kog'Maw pick overall in that composition. If you're going to go 2 parts forward, make it 3 instead of 1 part backward, because otherwise you're relying on 2 picks to carry you through the mid game. With then an AD carry that will win you the late game, why not just bring a 3rd pick into that can manage to even out the mid game against a very mid game oriented composition? Yes, Fizz scales well into the late game. It's open again though this time, but now the flexing of that Shen has been removed by Origin, so they're telling themselves, we're not afraid of Fizz because we will counter pick it later on.
And H2K have first picked Thresh quite a lot. It's not something they have to take away from Mythy. It's because Kasing is just so good on the champion. He's very comfortable on it. I don't think necessarily it has to be a first pick though for H2K compared to what other options we could see up there. I mean, getting an Alistar for Mythy is going to be more than fine.
Obviously, place yourself in the mind of Origin. If you've been preparing for H2K, what is one of the target bans you will be doing this entire series? Probably Thresh. That means Mythy probably hasn't even practiced the champion all too much. Also, his playstyle revolves around more of a disengaged component in Alistar and Janna. So I do think they could have left it up longer should they have had a priority pick. But H2K right now, Lulu's out, Shen is out. They don't really have anything that they want to pick early other than the Corki.
And look how much you lose now on the side of H2K. Again, this support pick, Mythy's more than happy taking an Alistar from this one here. So you take the Fizz away, which I think is very key in this matchup now, because also flex pick.
Disagree though, because where are you going to go pick that Fizz on the 2nd rotation already?
Why you would pick it?
Yeah, it was H2K, because last time they just waited until the last rotation until they saw the counter pick in the mid lane. So like, we're not going to pick it early, so they kind of don't really lose it anyways, because I feel like they wouldn't have picked it on 2nd rotation anyways.
That might be true, they wouldn't have picked it in 2nd rotation, even though again, they could have very easily done it. We know Ramne can play top, we know Ryu can play mid. I feel like this for Origin is the safer option. You get the Alistar support, and you take away that annoying potential split pusher, potential assassin in the mid lane from Ryu. So Origin clearly high priority on it, and fine giving up a support pick. At least would have been the other one, but because we know Lulex is a Lee Sin player, Origin is going to get everything they want if they take
That's true.
Here.
Lulex has been spamming Lee Sin throughout all of the playoffs. Every single game he's had a chance to, exception of one Gragas game. Maokai again for Oda so you've got engage, disengage, peel. But how do they round out their composition? We will find out once Origin lock in their next 2. Just as a quick note, Niels' most played champion in summer was Corki, and he had fantastic 28, 8, and 30, as well as denying it from Hyonin.
I definitely want to see where that Fizz ends up going and how much Origin is willing to reveal right now to keep that flex Fizz dream alive.
Soaz wants it into the Maokai. Up in that top lane. You get double
Really a good matchup, yeah.
Double Trinity Spike from Origin. Insane mid game, which is where they started losing ground against H2K in the last match we just saw where they fell behind. Again, at least Alistar would be the expected ones, but they're changing it up from Origin.
However, a good lane swap by H2K. If they manage to get the lane swap off and they predict the way Origin has been playing so far, that Fizz can fall incredibly far behind in the top lane. Really hard to farm as a melee range champion, under-leveled, under pressure as well. If H2K can pick a safe AD carry that can survive on their own merit, they've locked in Jinx.
Again, it's Hyonin's also 2nd most played, undefeated in some.
Into this matchup though, this is incredibly rough. This is
I mean, what he's
borderline
seeing,
ballsy.
He's got Thresh.
What he's basically seeing is, sure, he has the Lantern, first of all, but he sees, okay, the Braum is here, then the Corki and Elise. So there is nothing that is going to directly hard engage on me, and then except for the Fizz, which is the one who can flank onto him, get the fish connected, and then you can take down the Jinx. But there's decent protection in the Maokai and the Thresh to keep him alive.
So the weakness is flanks on a team that H2K has not been able to defend their flanks particularly effectively this series. On Lulex, who's not buying Sightstone on Lee Sin this series.
I'm not quite sure if I agree with the only target being able to connect to the Jinx being that Fizz. A Braum Q flash, Corki Valk in, offensive Cocoon can all connect on the Jinx enough to just immediately lock her down, but
it's done.
Come on, boys.
We will see Ryu expand his champion pool yet again.
I like it.
Tell me why.
Just a lack of wave clear though. But H2K have already signed the paperwork that says like if we fall behind we're dead anyways. So we're just gonna go all in, no wave clear. Yasuo, deadly combination. They have a lot of setup for it.
Okay, I like it into when it comes to like Corki Elise because the long range they're gonna provide the Cocoon coming in. Problem is again you're blind picking it first of all. And second, you have no Jinx, Yasuo as your 2 carries, so you're extremely low on magic damage. You do bring some armor penetration from the Yasuo's ulti. But as you said here, late game scaling wise, yeah, it looks great champions. But I'm more concerned about what's going to happen in the mid game here because Origin is looking very, very strong in this mid game already. And I'm not sure that Yasuo and Jinx will have time.
That's true. It does pose a bit of a question in terms of the magic damage department, especially when Fizz can now kind of get a free frozen heart too. That will be ultra efficient as well. Fizz looks to be going mid with the top lane Gnar picked up. However, I do like the zone from the wind wall. They have triple knock-up setup. It's a bold blind pick. The only other option would have actually been that Orianna, really, that you could really blind pick in this scenario.
Which would also add wave clear for your team.
It would make it super meta game, standard composition, but H2K, I think they kind of realized we need to go all out and snowball our league with some really, really oddball picks. Otherwise, if we play on an even level playing field, Origin will just outsmart us.
Such a risky comp because now all you have is basically we're gonna hard engage onto you. So the Jinx is gonna be stuck in the backline on her own, or well, Kissing is gonna be next to it, but this AP Fizz, as you mentioned, the flank is gonna basically one-shot it, unless you're playing around getting the reset on the passive and to try and clean up fights. So H2K running a super risky composition in that sense. But we can almost say the same for Origin over here. I mean, we got the Fizz in the mid lane. They're going to rely on the 1-3-1 setup on their side now, this game here. So a lot of changes in the pick and ban phase.
And talking about Origin in terms of the changes, first time Fizz in the mid lane. First time Gnar up top for Soaz. We need to see how well Origin are going to play around the Gnar bar. How do they handle the ultimate? Can they use the teleports effectively? And will Gnar be able to split push? What we've actually seen last week in the quarterfinals, what we've seen from the Challenger finals, when a Gnar gets ahead of Maokai, they just go full split push and are nearly unstoppable.
Definitely with that Black Cleaver, armor penetration build. However, it does make it very weak in team fights. So we'll have to see what approach Origin is about to take.
As we jump into game 4, this could be the game that sends Origin to the finals, or one last chance for H2K to push this series all the way. And H2K have picked an all-or-nothing team composition. What better way to set a stand?
I do think Origin can also split away from that 1-3-1 composition and run a simple 4-1. With Fizz split pushing later on, yes, you want to have teleport, but then you have a really good setup where you have Poke coming out from the Gnar and Niels on Corki. And if a Braum Q ever gets connected, it makes it so easy to follow up on any damage. So you can really have good control around objectives and have a flank from Expected come in.
The problem is, if you have your Gnar sitting with your team, playing around Mega Gnar becomes way too easy for H2K because you have full vision of the Gnar all the time. So one of the reasons we want to see him normally sitting in that side lane, stack it up, and then he TPs in, gets the Mega Gnar going when the teamfight starts. But Origin, in terms of engaging, this is what I highlighted with the Jinx pick for H2K is if you look at it, you mentioned how they can flash Q from the Braum as a potential way of engaging. Otherwise, you're looking at a flash Cocoon. Not reliable ways to start the fights. And that's why the Jinx pick, I can understand it from Yanin saying, you know what, I'm looking at what they have to start fights here. As long as I have flash ready and I can position properly, I can dodge around this and then be a bit more a cleanup tool and a tower pusher.
I am a big fan, however, in 5v5 scenarios of Boomerang, Winter's Bite, and Cocoon. Throwing all three out, if one connects, facilitates the other. And with so many skill shots, somebody is bound to get hit by at least one of them. That is the rule in my solo queue game.
You can hit the Maokai though, he's going to be like, well...
well, yeah. See how good Odoamne is at eating skill shots.
As long as Yanin keeps up his normally very strong positioning, it's going to be Peke and Soaz coming with flanks. That's going to get to him. Otherwise, he should be okay, because H2K is turning on the power the other way. They're going to go towards the Nils here with the knockups from this Yasuo here and try and turn it around on Origin.
So the first 2 games of the series, we had lane swaps. The next 2, we have Standard lanes, albeit this time it's Australia. They've swapped. The duo's up top, and eventually the top laners will head their way down bottom. Looks like Soaz is already in lane, whereas Oduwamne is still holding Lulex's hand for the time being.
And this is also why I think their early rotation Fizz from Origin was fairly smart in the sense we know it can be a flex pick. So what they did was they saw first the Maoka and said, okay, we could take Fizz top now and just run double Trinity Force, Bruise of Fizz. Then they see the Yasuo get locked in the mid lane as a blind pick. They're like, okay, we're going to change it now. We still have that option to swap it down mid and clearly want to take that skill matchup to Assassins once again. And then pick the Gnar instead as the also a split pusher, we can say, against the Maokai.
Couple nice trades here from H2K, really using that double range advantage against the melee range support on the side of Origin in that Brow. So they get a bit of a sustain lead. Now the lane stays even though, a bit of a difference in the start as well. Soaz went down immediately. Oduwamne was dual jungling, giving his jungle a little bit more momentum, but then sacrificing his teleport in the process. However, this should mean that Lulex now stays on even footing. Hang on, hook into Flay.
Double Flay. Concussive blows about to get procced on Hyanin. And it's actually Hyanin that's forced to blows flash.
If you get connect on Winter's Bite, AD carry almost always has to flash. You know, as I was talking about, at least super sustain in the jungle. Lulex should be sustained enough. This opens up for early ganks.
Wow, that was a flash playful Trickster. The Venomous Fang is going to come out. First blood, amazing.
That dash from Rio secured the kill for Origin. Great early gank. Snowball the assassin in the mid lane. How is a Yasuo going to farm if he falls behind versus Fizz? He can always get engaged on another. Hooked on to Nils. Good trades.
That's a flash and ignite.
No heal?
So many heals been used. I don't know. Potion burning. Niels survives. Now you can see why Kasing has had Thresh banned from him 3 games in a row.
And just the setup they have with the Jinx, you have the Lantern. That gives her some mobility, it gives her almost a gap close at least to escape. And then at the same time, the hooks into the traps. And now Amazing, he's looking for more. TP as well.
Death Sentence connects onto Mythy. TP's being channeled from Soaz. Defensive flash. There's the Lantern, but it's a 2-man boomerang. Soaz is trying to get hyper. He's got it once. The repel, not going to follow for a target. And H2K get away.
I like how Hyanin was waiting, trying to kill Miffy there before he took the Lantern out. Good control though by Kasing, standing on max Lantern Rage. Gets Hyanin out. Summoners are blown though, so you can see a lot of volatile ganks coming out when these junglers revisit these lanes that previously blown their flashes.
Really the key thing for Kasing. Didn't want to try and join in and killing Mythy. He's like, no, I'm instantly just going to back away. I am the guy who gives you the cap close. I'm the guy who's going to save you. Gets the Lantern back. Mid lane though, Pekka got that early kill. They keep trading.
Now last game, we saw a very good performance from Ryu on that Fizz. I just want to highlight how Pekka managed to get that first blood. He got into Playful and Tricksters, and as he was landing, he flashed forward, carrying on the damage. This surprised Ryu, and actually facilitated that gank, so really showing that he mastered his champion, is not afraid to use his flash offensively.
Crepo, it surprised me as well. And we're going to see the supports, this time both roaming to the mid lane. Mythy, not going to connect with that Death Sentence. Sorry, Kasing not going to connect with the Death Sentence. Mythy is in the middle lane. Both with Relic Shield and Tier 1 boots. And both already moving down to join their AD carries. Hyanin and Niels, they've swapped, headed down to their regular lane of choice.
We might just see later on in this game here how both teams once again swap the AD carries to the mid lane, sit and face each other, and then we're going to have these split push wars, the Yasuo into the Fizz. Late game wise though, once Fizz gets the Hourglass especially, I really want to put it heavily in his favor. As long as the Yasuo doesn't get to go one-on-one against Soaz, Origin is going to be fine doing that. And then we get these big team fights later on where the flanks needs to happen from Origin.
And this is something we haven't even seen this entire series. Very early grouping up from Kasing and Lulex, working on their vision together, was lacking the past 2 games so far. Deep pink ward gets placed. It's very hard for people to spot that. That pink ward very often survives more than 5 minutes. Could be crucial into spotting Amazing. Amazing right now is on the left side of the map, so Oduwamne will have to be careful, because Lulex is controlling the right side of the map. By process of elimination, they know that he's not on the right side, therefore he has to be top lane.
Amazing is top lane. And not going to find anything. And we need to see whether or not Lulex and Kasing can keep up that level of deep vision. Lulex going to steal some of those Gromps away and maybe look for a play down bottom.
If he could get level 6 there, he can actually dash into the lane from behind and kick Nils or Mythy forward, open up a very, very unpredictable gank. We'll have to see if Amazing can recontrol his jungle, but it seems like they're dividing the map up left side and right side.
And now with Amazing invading on top side, he knows he's not there. Instead,
It connects! Kasing forces the flash from Niels.
That was so close.
Lulix didn't connect the Sonic Wave though.
He flashed through the flare, actually. Very, very good, well-timed flash by Niels. Any second later or earlier probably would have resulted into a kill.
give me the instant Valk though from Corki instead when the hook is flying in the air.
Yeah.
To just dodge it and obviously save your flash. I'm not sure if he was expecting Mithy to take it, but obviously he has no flash, so that would have resulted in a death. Instead though, top lane, we know how well Nard is doing into Maokai. Soaz is going to be a bully in this lane. He's going to keep doing it over and over. And look who's here. One of the best junglers in the game at tower diving. Odo Amne, you are in big, big trouble.
Here comes the amazing Spider-Man! And they get themselves a kill. Just so well executed.
And obviously they saw Lulix commit for a play earlier on the bottom right side of the map. This leaves top left side exposed. Odo Amne should have been expecting that gank. So it was wiser to base or even teleport out. Lulix needs a fish in the mid lane.
Sonic Wave's a minion, not going to get in range for the Dragon's Rage kick, and Peke makes it out.
Let's look though at how Origin has played for the last 1 or 2 minutes where they didn't have vision of Lulix. Once Amazing invaded into the top side jungle and saw there was no Lee Sin here, the camps were alive, he knew he hadn't been top side for a while. He called it, the bottom lane stayed very, very far back. And instead, it also allowed Soaz to play the bully, play aggressive top. You saw him jump forward because Amazing was nearby and they knew Lulix was on the bottom side. They used that information so well, and in the end, they're the ones getting the kill for it.
Now previously, the jungle was divided the map left to right. But right now, Lulix was the first one to get that blue buff on the side of Origin. If he returns to Blaze, hands off his blue buff. Potentially even to Maokai right there, since Yasuo obviously doesn't need it that badly. We could get a big buff advantage here on the side of H2K on the second round of buffs.
Yeah, we did see Lulix stealing Origin's blue a few seconds ago. Farmed himself up again, a CS lead over Amazing this particular match. Ryu also with the CS advantage in the mid lane again versus Peke. We know that Peke now has access to Chumma Waters, and assuming it doesn't get wind walled, has the ability to all in.
Braum Corki spikes pretty hard actually at level 6. If they can connect Winter's Bite, there's the immediate follow-up from the Glacial Fissure. Also, Corki puts out tremendous amount of damage when targets are CC'd because it's so easy to land Phosphor Bomb, get a proc from Sheen if he ever bases and buys that, get a couple rockets in the face, and you can straight up just focus Flash here as well because Jinx doesn't have the counter damage to really finish you off because you can always put up the shield from Braum as the ulti connects and negate most of the damage.
I want to see what else Mithy wants to do on Braum though, because Alistar was open. Would have fit in extremely well when it comes to trying to dive onto H2K here and enable the Fizz and the Gnar. Mass amounts of CC coming in, fantastic dive potential with at least Alistar. Up for the Braum instead. Not against any poke really on the side of H2K where we've normally seen the pick come in, or in compositions where you really want to protect your backline, which is not the case for Origin either, because Niels is going to handle himself. 4 people coming bot lane now.
Drag the mana bars. Niels probably just had to Valkyrie out, so you know Valkyrie available for him.
That's a 2-man last breath, and Niels is already down. Teleport started from Soaz. He's opted to cancel it. Ryu is looking for more. Glacial Fissure defensively from Mithy, and Ryu grabs himself a kill. Oduamne looks like he's going to get run down. Soaz is going to go Mega Gnar, and he wants to, doesn't even need to. He's shut down Oduamne.
Yeah, just double-checked, and pre-facing that play was a zap into hook that forced the Valkyrie. That put Niels under his tower with no flash. Lulix kicks immediately, because it doesn't matter what direction you kick him in anyways, because Yasuo will take over that knockup with his ultimate. Very straightforward dive. Mithy drops 2, so really nice play. However, this leaves the mid lane tower exposed, and Origin open up the map.
And really the big problem here for H2K, despite having such a good dive on the bottom lane, Soaz gets another kill top. Last pick in that Gnar. Odo Amne saying, you know what, I'm expecting it to be a Fizz top lane. I should be able to handle this matchup a lot better. Instead, he's in so much trouble in this game. He's been shut down completely. He has to delay going Righteous Glory just to build up some more defensive stats.
And yeah, as we see Origin pushing that map lead even further by picking up a dragon. I just want to touch on that point on Odoamne yet again, because H2K does not play well from behind, because Odoamne is a player, when he's put behind, he seems to fall deeper into the pit instead of crawling out. We've seen a couple of games where he just kept overextending and just kept getting ganked, and Soaz should be a player that can punish that very hard. So we'll have to see if H2K have fixed that somehow, get him back into the game, because else he'll keep getting bullied on these side lanes.
Good move from Origin here, taking down the bot lane. They have multiple members on the bottom side, even Soaz without teleport. Instead of him staying top, he moves down to another lane, so you have the potential of 5 members nearby, and also you start taking over the jungle and push in a bit further. So tower will be traded though. Rio's gonna get the top lane.
H2K need to get a tier 2 tower somewhere, or the tier 1 in mid, or potentially the top lane tower, but even more vision control in the enemy jungle. They need to get something out of this play, because otherwise they're simply getting out-rotated by Origin. Origin's already knocking that tier 2 tower. 4 people here. Odoamne had to flash.
Maybe another tower for Origin. The rest of H2K still somewhat stuck in odd places on the map. Kasing and Hyanin are there. We do see the Super Mega Death Rocket goes out. It doesn't do a lot. Flame Chompers are splitting them up. Odoamne is in the middle of the fight, but Hyanин's now being focused. Glacial Fissure comes out from Miffy. That knocks Hyanin out before he gets knocked down. Odoamne will get stunned by the concussive blows, but here comes Lulex. He needs to find a target. He's going to look for Amazing. Ryu will find himself a kill. It's a 1 for 3, and Origin got a tower. With SOAS joining the fray, it's an easy win for Origin.
And we were wondering why Braum over Alistar, but it paid off that fight. He put up the shield as the Jinx ultimate came in. 0 damage, then applied passive on 2 different people. They got stunned at the same time. That is the power of Braum. You can apply your passive on multiple targets at once. Glacial Fissure, once Hyanin is trying to reach the backline of the fight, he got knocked up and popped immediately. Miffy single-handedly won that team fight for Origin. Fantastic play and really, really big lead already for Origin. Only 14 minutes in.
The only saving grace for H2K is Ryu on this Yasuo. He took that tower up top. He's got a 40 CS advantage and nearly 1,300 gold, which we'll talk about in a moment. Here's that fight.
Watch it again. First flash blow. Now keep your eyes on Miffy. He's going to put up the shield to connect the Jinx ulti with it. It obviously does 0 damage. It still does the AoE, but 0 damage on Miffy. Puts it up, does nothing. Now he's going to walk in zone Hyanin. He's applying passive on multiple targets in the fight too. 1 on Odoamne, 1 on Hyanin. Hyanin is face checking into Miffy, gets Glacial Fissure. Kasing still has a passive of him. Odoamne still has a passive of him. Double stun here from Braum. Lulex comes in, can't connect with anyone because Yasuo's not here. They find Amazing. But yeah, that pick is definitely paying off for them.
Melee range ADC is the deadest.
Yeah, Jan not really making it very tough there. Moving straight into it.
Did that take a second to Fissure?
Man, I was wondering why he was moving around like that. Instead, the Origin is still full control. Odoamne, he just keep getting ganked.
Yeah.
Taken down.
He's going to go down. Lulex, no, he's still alive. He manages to walk away. Odoamne survives. Death Sentence doesn't find a target as SOAS teleports onto a Flame Chomper. I'm sure I saw a smiley there from Jinx. H2K, they hold their inner turret, but they lost their blue. Okay, sniped. That's a dead spider. Someone get the bug spray. Hyanin's on the board. H2K now looking to fight. Ryu forced to flash defensively. Glacial Fissure's going to come up and slow Hyanin as the Narar stuns Ryu against the wall. Zap comes out. Kasing gets a death sentence, but it simply does not matter because in the end, Origin look like they will get this tower. Minion Wave is conga lining in. And unfortunately for OG, the wave clear from H2K is good enough.
H2K needs to realize that you just had a 4v4 fight down bottom lane without SOAS. Now you have one with SOAS. This guy is extremely fed, so you cannot just dive onto him normally. These fights will go in favor of Origin. First, they're trying to get Odoamne down, stays alive. Lulex with a nice kickback on Amazing to get in the last execute. And then we get the snipe, yes, but then it's H2K trying. See if they get more kills and then realizing how strong the rest of Origin still are.
Basically, you have to keep using that kick defensively, though. That eliminates a very big part.
Small Spilings could have caught that one, come on.
Part of their combination, which is the kick from Lee Sin into the Yasuo ultimate, and that's what they were really looking for. Lulex has to work on his bowling skills, knock a couple pins up at the same time, AoE ulti from Yasuo, followed by Windwall, and in that time, Hyanin should be able to deal damage untouched, but then he has to stop face checking.
That's the fancy one, then there's the boring one where your marker points on click on a target and presses Q, and then you knock them up, and hopefully that could be enough for H2K.
True.
Yeah, but he's not going to survive long enough because in 16 minutes,
one job.
Odoamne's only got
Knock someone up, please.
a Catalyst and a Ruby Crystal. Lulex is still farming up the necessary minerals. He's 1 Ruby Crystal away from a very famous song. But for H2K, they're down in gold, they're down in kills, they're down in towers. Like, they need to get some power, maybe from Ryu finding a pick, maybe from stalling until Odoamne can become a frontline.
Well, we're gonna have a dragon fight incoming here. Source is no TP, that's why he's not in a side lane. Early Sunfire for him, so full focus on getting split pushing power and also a cheap early item to make him a bit stronger, spike a little bit earlier.
And no magic damage but aside of H2K.
Different approach in itemization, though, when we see Nars fully spec into offensive split push. We've even seen Blade of the Ruined King over at LCK, but didn't really work out all that well. But usually they go Black Cleaver, but so I was saying, okay, I'm building more for teamfights. I'm already winning my split push. Why spec into offense when I can just make it so hard for people to kill me? Still push with that Sunfire Cape, so good adaptation there in terms of item builds.
Yeah, and we've seen other adaptations as well, where you have like 1 or 2 tank items first, and then maybe as a third item, we've seen Chachi do it in the quarterfinals. If you want to then go back to your 1-3-1 setup. But definitely with the fact he's been winning his lane so hard, no need for that Black Cleaver. Easy Dragon for Origin.
If he built a Glacial Shroud, it could go into the Harbinger, but I think it's more going into a Frozen Heart because it's just ultra efficient to build it. As a Braum, when you're dealing with that Yasuo, who can then slow down in terms of attack speed, also just build raw armor and you can peel the Jinx. It takes Jinx an incredibly large amount of time to peel through a Frozen Heart shielded up Braum. It's pretty much impossible.
Just another great reason for Soaz to rush early armor items. Instead of going Black Cleaver, don't go Blade of the Rune King or anything. No, if you just become nearly unkillable for Yanin in these fights here, you're just going to zone him one-on-one so easily, and it's going to be all about can you avoid Ryu one-shotting Nils basically in the fights.
Traditionally, in League of Legends history, when a team that has a single damage type with relatively limited wave clear falls behind, it becomes exceptionally difficult to pull it back. You then put that exact team with that exact team comp down 2-1 in a best of 5. H2K have one hell of an uphill fight ahead of them.
Got to worry about potential dragons coming in. Origin got them at an okay time. Should be about 4 or 5 minutes for the next one. That's going to be the third.
Now the last mid game though evolved a bit into a solo queue-esque situation. If you played enough solo queue, you know that 2,000 gold is not enough to net you that victory. Nor is
Watch enough LCS to know that, Creppo.
Or 5k or 10k. So with a good Yasuo play here and there, Ryu can definitely swing this game back into his favor. Because obviously there's armor penetration on that ultimate. So you can never really out-armor Yasuo because eventually he can deal a whole lot of damage. But then he needs to find its opening and dodge the CC.
And his target's going to be the AD carry, who's hopefully not stacking armor later on. We have seen Brandon Tillman a few times.
Tribute to Genja.
Other AD carries. Genja is so the Time Lord. He knew what was going to happen, but
he was waiting for this game. Game 4 in the playoffs, semi-final.
So we're hitting 20 minutes now, and Origin has slowed down the tempo. They did get the previous dragon. They are doing the 1-3-1. Doing to H2K what H2K did to them in the previous game. And Ryu's going to go all in on Pekka. He will find it with the help of Lulex. Soaz starts the teleport, then cancels it. That means Oduwamne has teleports available. Origin lose the mid lane and back away.
A big mistake from Pekka.
Flash up, didn't use E, I presume. Probably just got connected by Yasuo and didn't expect the ulti. Lulex came in and followed up with some heavy damage.
And the worst thing was his teammate just moved over to try and secure the rest of the jungle because they were timing the wave he was pushing down, and then he gets caught out and dies. This is going to delay everything for Origin because now it buys time for H2K at least to shove out the lanes. You can see top lane Ryu. Someone needs to go back and worry about him. It's going to be Soaz on the way up there.
Good sidestepping from H2K not to get caught by that Winter's Bite. But with teleport on Oduwamne and it on cooldown for Soaz, H2K have an opportunity to make a play in a side lane.
And there's a couple of deep pink wards hidden well inside the jungle of Origin. Origin actually haven't been in that jungle too much lately because they've been counter-invading. That initial pink ward is still alive, so we might actually see later on teleport from Oduwamne. Perhaps even with home guards.
Need the home guards. Very early for him. If he's going to guarantee getting in that backline, setting up Ryu for the perfect ulti onto someone like Nils.
Finally though, that one pink ward is about to be spotted by Mithy. He actually cleans it out. So that pink ward survived for a very long time.
I've asked the observers to confirm how many minutes, Creppo. We will give the important updates shortly.
Gotta love those vision wards.
Talking about the time and talking about the slowdown in tempo, Oduwamne has been able to finish that Righteous Glory. It's not the greatest of tanky items.
Actually,
Mithy is an initiation tool.
Mithy told Amazing, he's like, guys, I found a deep pink ward. Can we check out brushes, please? Amazing immediately turns around. Does find it too, so teleport plays from behind. Severely limited right now. H2K stuck in their base. Keep your eyes on Ryu. He has to make the play.
We're most likely just going to see Origin say we don't have to risk any tower dives. We don't have to overcommit in our split pushing. We have 2 dragons early on. Wait for the next one to spawn, secure that one, then move all the vision over to the Baron. Or you can do the Baron first. Now it's 1 min 40. on this Dragon here. Play around those objectives, force the face check instead.
Ryu does not get caught by the Chum the Waters. He's looking for the knockup. Does decide to engage with the last breath as Oduwamne used his teleport advantage to come in. Soaz will go Mega Gnar shortly. The focus is Xpeka, but in a 2v3, it's H2K that are running for their lives. Ryu says, peace out, bro. Do not want. Glacial Fisher comes down from Mithy as all of H2K have started to group up. The death sentence connects, but it's H2K that are sentenced to death. They've lost 2 at the cost of none. Kasing will be the next to fall as the cocoon from Spider-Man connects. Amazing 4-2-2.
So it's basically just unkillable, stacking so much armor. We saw the damage from H2K barely touched him. He gets the Mega Gnar. They turn the fight around 2 versus 3 from Origin. They didn't have to go for any plays there, but still feel like they could maybe catch out Rio. And even when multiple members showed up, they were still strong enough to win it.
And that was an insane win wall from Ryu too. He played that fight almost perfectly, hesitated a little bit whether he should go in for that potential knockup. Now we have Luix, he has to go for the Hail Mary, steal blind.
Niels catches the Sonic Wave and then catches the kill. 2000 HP, Flame Chompers are up. Yonan gonna decide to back away. Baron should be secured here by Origin. Will there be any exit kills? Yonan forced to flash over the wall and OG get out.
Let's see it again. Origin with small trap source waiting in the bush, and then now you see 3 guys for H2K. Look at how tanky Soaz is. It's pure physical damage, and then a Maokai who's under-farmed, under-level, dealing a little bit of magic damage, and that's not enough. And once you can start taking these fights on the side of Origin, you buy so much time for rest of your team. Beautiful ulti from Mithy. That's 2 kills, 3 even in the end, into a Baron. Like, Origin, composition-wise, have so many ways they can play out this game now.
And the amount of time that Soaz managed to buy cannot be understated, because if you watched your minimap at the start of that play, they were coming all the way from the mid lane. Mithy even managed to pass super aggressively because of how well Soaz was keeping them busy with his one-dimensional item build on Gnar. Didn't have to go for the fancy Black Cleaver. I will 1v1 you, bro. No, I will just simply win the team fight for my team. Honestly, barring the game 3, Soaz has been performing fantastically throughout the series and definitely has been carrying the early to mid game for Origin.
Even more impressive when you consider this is his first Gnar of summer.
And he will need to do that if Fnatic expectedly win. He'll be facing up against potentially Huni in the finals. Definitely need to have his top lane game on point.
Definitely the case for Origin, because with the lead they've accrued and the advantages they've built up, they look to close this series out 3-1. We're getting nearer the time the NA LCS semifinals was going to start, so welcome to all our NA viewers. You've missed a few fantastic games. Origin now need to demonstrate their ability to close and not run the risk of get cornered by Ryu, because a Ryu Hail Mary is the only thing I see that can pull them back into this.
It becomes very telegraphed though at this point.
And you need to burn through like...
From Gnar. You can even sacrifice one of your members to the Blood Gods and you will still win this siege.
I just wonder what happened in the pick and ban phase for H2K when they decided we need to blind pick this Yasuo. It's going to be the best option for us with the setup we have. Again, we mentioned how the Jinx, there were so many things that could flank, but then we could see how Yannick could maybe decide to stay alive and therefore you could pick it. But then you don't pick in the Yasuo with it, because then you just, again, you're just stacking physical damage. You have a composition that can only do one thing, and that is jump in, assassinate a target and get a reset, and you need to have the lead to do it, because you have no proper wave clear, you have really no ways of getting back into a game.
Origin, however, do have a way to get out of this game, and it's with the Baron empowered minions, it's with a top lane inhibitor, and a 9,000 gold lead.
Miffy's so far ahead that he actually doesn't have to finish that Frozen Heart. He says, okay, I'll just go Harbinger. Braum doesn't really value too much from AP, so the Amptoms in that build completely wasted, but he just wants to buff up Niels even more because he's just too hard to kill. And even if they get through him, eventually, then the fight's probably already won, so... Bit of an adaptation in his build there.
We also saw Origin securing another blue buff on their way out. I believe that's the 3rd blue in a row they've stolen from H2K. Reuse Yasuo, reuse last breath in this series is simply not enough. And this could be it. This could be the final minutes of our first semi-final of the summer split. And Origin, despite the veteran players in their roster, this is their inaugural team debut in the LCS, and it would be a final for them as well. So as it's teleported in, take the inhibitor turret. Here's the fight. A Flay will interrupt the hop. So as is going to go Mega Gnar shortly, and he's tanking up H2K. Niels and Mithy trading a couple blows on him in here before they back out.
So tanking that front line from Soaz. Jumping in aggressively, zoning people away. Not gonna threaten Odamdo. Instead, he's going for Jinx.
Oh, Hyunen's going to go down. The Lantern's not enough. Soaz is on a rampage. 4-0-3. Chum the Waters gets blocked by the wind wall once more as we see Ryu trying to get on the back line. It's actually Odawamne that picks up the kill on Mithy, but it will not matter. The damage dealers for H2K are down. Origin have super minions almost on the steps of the top lane, and this could be the final push. The Cocoon connects onto Lulex. Amazing. Does get caught by the death sentence, but he's simply too tanky. Odawamne takes a Lantern out. So it's going to go Mega Gnar for the second time this trade, and Origin realize they do not want to give up the lead they've built. They back away after a Nexus turret.
Well, you still got 3 dragons for yourself. Wait 2 minutes for the next one. And a rocket flies by.
Yeah, there it is again.
Gotta see it twice.
I'm having deja vu, guys.
At least it's not a black cat. It's a Jinx rocket. Right now, Origin, yeah. 7,000 gold in the lead, 8,000 gold in the lead, comfortable position. They haven't made those closing errors so far in the series that they were kinda being talked about in the earlier stages of the split. Perhaps they were just toying with their food, perhaps they just actually had legit closing issues, but so far it's been pretty textbook. Game 3 they fell behind to a skirmish composition, so they may want to be careful a little bit in that regard, but other than that, pretty well played, and yeah, some members stepping up, as we always joke around, you know. So as an expected stepping up in playoffs. They did.
Historically been the case, and Crepa, you said it at the beginning of game 1. And we all reiterated it. Origin in playoffs, a lot more focused, a lot more objective-based. And it's built them this, honestly, massive lead.
Now the good thing for H2K, however, is, as we see Odawamne here being engaged upon, he's gonna drop. Lulex is watching that. Watching his teammate go down. He's flanking for a kick, but not even a super good pinball, I think, can save this game at this point.
No, I'm gonna need to see whether or not Ryu can play bowling.
Oh,
Hyunen gets gnawed! The stun doesn't connect, but he will be able to escape. That is a massive flame chomper. Soaz is gonna go to Mini Gnar shortly. Aggressive Valk forward into the Glacial Fissure. A 3-man last breath. It does not do anything. We do see Origin grabbing 1, grabbing 2. The Nexus turrets are being focused by the super minions. Amazing is trying to push them down as well, and Hyunen will not be able to get more kills. H2K get aced. Origin, they were going to Stockholm, now they're going to Stockholm in the finals. They will be facing the winner of Fnatic or UOL 3-1 in their first LCS split.
Yeah, fantastic performance. Team seems to be a little bit relieved, but overall very calm, collected, closing out of these games. Dropped 1 map, but a lot of people expected this overall. 3-1, superior seed coming into the playoffs. They had the bye, they had many weeks to prepare. Perhaps even just relax, get rid of the stress a little bit, you know, come without burning out into these playoffs, which is important if you're thinking about Worlds, because now the grind begins. Origin is this close. They haven't secured any seed. In the finals, they have to win to get that seed, otherwise they're going into the regional qualifier as they don't have sufficient points gathered so far in the split, but they're looking strong.
And they showed they can adapt after losing a game. They
Yeah.
lost to some solo queue mistakes almost in the last game, then they start falling behind to the 1-3-1 setup, but also the pick and ban phase. Realizing what were some of the problems in terms of the picks here. The Fizz was annoying as a flex pick, so we take it away from them. And then also just H2K with this Jinx Yasuo combo, which was super strange, honestly. Just the synergy, what made it so hard for H2K, especially once they start falling behind.
Now it speaks in favor of H2K. They won their 1 single game in this best of 5 due to a skirmish composition. Very solo queue-esque. If there's anything you want to have ready in case you face UOL in that potential 30th match, should UOL lose, that's the assumption we're going with, then it's obviously solo queue skirmish style. Could prove for a very interesting, chaotic match there. However, wasn't the case this time. Was only the case 1 game. Yeah, Origin closed out 3-1.
And I think it's important to note as well the 3 different ways to get to Worlds, because that's what everybody's eyesight is on. Win the summer split, have the most championship points, or win the regional qualifier. Origin either have to win the summer split or win the regional qualifier, because H2K, despite their loss here, they will go into the regional qualifier depending on the seed, will depend on tomorrow's semi-final. So there are options and there are possibilities here for actually surprises now, if Unicorns can pull a major upset.
Through the split, though, however, they have been having hard times against Rocket. Rocket is still in that regional qualifier, facing off against Giants round 1. Wouldn't be unheard of. Could
Flirting
be
with Yamato cannon on the desk already.
He's obviously rooting for that, but yeah. Origin do look a lot stronger than the games they have dropped against Rocket in the past. But nothing is certain, and they definitely will prepare hard for that final, whether it will be Unicorns of Love or Fnatic. Definitely took a good first step. We'll still need to perfect some things, so some holes of strategy. That lane swap, especially game 1 and 2, was a reaction to a very predictable lane swap, but is predictable in itself.
Fnatic should punish it.
And can easily get punished. Yeah.
We'll find out if Fnatic can win, of course. We're going to head over to Pulse on stage, who is joined by 2 of our summer finalists.
Thank you very much, guys. Great cast. And I'm joined by Peke and Niels to talk about that incredible 3-1 win in that series. First off, guys, I was talking to Ducky earlier, and he was saying how you were focusing on your own play. How was that working as a team, and how did that translate into this game?
Well, we had a plan prepared that mostly we focus in the champs we play and the comps we play, and I think that's what we did, kind of. We had an idea of what they would play, but pretty much what we wanted to end up is running something that we're comfortable with. We didn't want to end up letting them have good picks and us running something to counter it that we never play, so we tried to ban what could be annoying for us, because we'll have to adapt and just play what we like to play.
Oh yeah, well, it definitely worked out in this series, 3-1. So Niels, you were the rookie of the split, and you were, quote-unquote, the new guy to the team in this bunch of veterans. This team worked out really well. Has this team met your expectations when you joined it?
I think it has already exceeded the expectations, to be honest. I didn't have any expectations for like winning the split or going second in the final already, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it definitely worked out for you. So you're now in the finals, Peke. I know you built this team to reach the LCS, and now you've gone one step further and made it to the finals of Summer. What does that mean to you?
Well, pretty much like Neil said. I never thought we would be like enough to make it to the finals. I thought we would be good, make it to playoffs. But after playoffs, I was unsure of how good we would play. I thought like a game against a team like H2K would be really close and really hard. We could win, but I never thought we would be like this good to actually be in the final and have a chance of winning it. So
yeah, almost got a chance of winning it. And now, last question, Niels. You're going to be facing Fnatic to try and win it all. How do you think that matchup is going to go? Do you have any predictions?
I mean, I guess you're assuming that they already won against UL in the semifinal then.
No, it could be you, either of those teams, any of those teams, Niels. How do you think you're going to perform against them?
I mean, I think that we will face Fnatic, but it's same as this. I'm not scared of them, but I think they're going to be a tough opponent, just like H2K will. I mean, H2K was a tough opponent. They're good, and so is Fnatic, and UL if they win.
Yeah, well, definitely. Anyway, we're going to send it over to the analyst desk to break down that series.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Pulse. That wraps up the series. Let's dial in a little bit on the last game, though, because this was the game that H2K had to win if they wanted to stay in this. Let's take a look at what they decided to go for in picks and bans, because on the side of OG, we have the graphic as well to remind us of that. Some cool adaptations. What do you think was behind this, Yamato, for H2K?
I feel the biggest flaw, like when I look at H2K's team comp, this is the type of, like, I know they are recognized for these champions. I haven't seen Rio and Yasuo though, but it feels like this is the type of composition you run to, like, if you win Worlds, you want to have these skins like as champions, you know? Because these are champions, they play a lot, but they got severely punished. You don't blind pick Maokai into Flex Fizz. Even though they didn't send the Fizz top, they even picked the Yasuo into Flex Fizz. Two champions that are bad against Fizz. It's lost already there.
It was really strange looking the picks and bans, especially with the Fizz point, as you said. And, you know, I think towards the end of the picks and bans phase, Origin just said, okay, well, we know we're going to, you know, pick our second solo lane last. Let's just pick something that they're never going to be able to kill. And that's exactly how it turned out. Soaz became unkillable on basically 2 items when Maokai had 1 and bits of other items and just kept dying just again and again. So painful to be in that position for Odo.
That was a budget Maokai. That's a Maokai you buy at the dollar store or something. Like,
it's a twig instead of a tree.
Yeah.
At times. And with that, because Soaz became unkillable and that Fizz is so slippery, we have have one of the replays where they're able to bait out a fight in the bottom lane and stay alive, honestly, for so damn long that it set up the play for OG. Because I thought this was a bad move, actually, looking at the beginning of it.
All right, so you can see clearly here, Soaz, he built 2 armor items straight up. They realized they cannot kill him, so they just jumped on top of Peke, but they burnt everything they have in their arsenal. No Rio ultimate, and that's kind of needed to bring them down. And you can see the kind of fortitude that Soaz provides with his build is just unparalleled with the damage that H2K does. It's just, they cannot go through him.
Absolutely. One of the team-winning fights, just building up gold there, OG, and eventually closing it out. What does this tell you for both of the teams? Let's start with H2K. Obviously, although you guys both called it in favor of OG, has this 3-1 surprised you in any way from the side of H2K, or some things that you expected that they didn't turn up on and some things maybe unexpected?
I mean, coming to this game, I thought OG has the upper hand, for sure. I wasn't sure if it's gonna be as close, but I thought like in every area they have like a stronger, if not equal, player. So coming into the next games for H2K, I think they will match up much better against Unicorns of Love, because I think Unicorns of Love is a weaker opponent on paper.
You're doing the same as Paul.
Oh yeah.
What if they win?
What if they win? Okay, let's assume they win. But
I think they will win.
H2K has to win the third place game now to qualify directly through Worlds. So that's going to be a really important game for them. And I think they should be prepared for that right now. And maybe even let Betong Yoke play it or something. Because we have shown that Lulex is not able to play Elise in that series for whatever reason still. And yeah, I think they just have to prepare and see which player they will go. Maybe change a bit of in picks and bans, because right now I'm not really too convinced of their strategy. Readjust small things, and then they should be able to actually still manage to go to Worlds through qualifying with the most points.
Like, I want to elaborate a bit on the point you made with the Elise. Like, Shen was banned from red side.
Yeah.
So that is considered the biggest counter to Fizz top lane. And we had Fizz, a very, very contested pick when Shen is out of the game and Rumble has been nerfed. So with that in mind, Elise and Fizz were the 2 priorities. They picked Thresh. Thresh has counters. I thought Origin would pick Alistar or Annie into the Thresh, which are like considered bigger counters in the lane phase and also really good champions later on in the game. But they didn't. They opted in for the Braum. But still, they were allowed to get Fizz Elise in this draft. I think it was Dunzo already there.
Yeah, it seemed tough from that. I mean, speaking about both teams, Origin, it was business as usual, which for Origin fans is great. They put on a performance. For H2K, it also seemed like business as usual because you didn't know which H2K was turning up. In the first 2 games, it was the H2K that just have not been looking impressive. They fixed a couple of problems, but overall inconsistent, which is not something that coming into this split we thought we'd be saying about H2K.
No, but OG, we didn't know what to expect. Got all the way to the semifinals, to the finals actually, and in this one we'll have to crown someone who went above and beyond in this series, and there was some amazing play from Mithy. He set up the kills that brought the team to the summer finals, and it wasn't an easy decision, obviously, because Amazing was doing very, very well and all the players, but I think we can all agree that Mithy was instrumental in this one.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Mithy's Janna play, especially in game 2 was just extremely good. Like, his roams were on point, his team fighting abilities on all champions were really good. His Braum, he knew how to use all the 3 champions he played in the series. And yeah, I think Mithy deserved the MVP.
Mithy is a god. But I would also add that Amazing was a close second. Really impressive series by him.
Yep.
Yep, definitely every single player on that team stepping up and bringing them to the finals. And with that win, Origin is the first team to secure a spot in the summer finals. Let's take a look at the bracket, because of course they'll be facing the winner of tomorrow's bout between Fnatic and the Unicorns of Love for the League Championship Series title and the first European seed at Worlds 2015. As said, H2K, they didn't win here, so they are into the 3rd place match, which will be if UOL loses versus Fnatic, which I don't want to put as a definite. You never know what's going to happen, so we'll see what happens there. What is your opinion on this bracket as this completed up to now? Everything as expected?
I think actually,
well, yeah, for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to be in playoffs too, but yeah, we can't choose, you know.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah,
that's what we say.
On the side of Origin, though, do they have what it takes to win the entire thing? I mean, if you look at the things where Fnatic might falter, do they have the right counterparts?
Okay, I think Fnatic definitely has a better pick and ban phase than any other team right now. They play all the meta picks. They are better than probably Origin right now in certain positions. I mean, Reckless and Fibivin, the two most consistent players in their role probably right now. So I think they are strategically also a lot better than H2K. So I'm not sure how Origin will stack up against Fnatic if they win 1 or 2 games, but I don't see them winning against Fnatic, to be honest, because I think Fnatic is just overall too well-rounded. Very few weaknesses actually that are has shown in the split. So I don't see them actually winning against Fnatic.
Well, I think one of the only areas they may be able to, if Amazing plays like he did today, if they can punish Reignover in the jungle, it's a similar thing for tomorrow with Unicorns. It's a very small window on Fnatic, but that is going to be the area that teams are going to have to exploit if they want to go past Fnatic.
Yeah, we'll see how strong Fnatic is once again tomorrow, because we're going to fill out the rest of that bracket when they will be going up against the Unicorns of Love. That's a rematch of the Spring Split Finals. Will be nice to see those up against each other in a best-of-5 once again, and after that wraps up here in Berlin, we'll send it over to LA for the NA LCS clash between Team Liquid and TSM. Team Liquid versus TSM tomorrow, of course, CLG versus Team Impulse coming up right after we lock up here. What are your, who will be in the final there in NA, you guys think?
CLG.
I'm thinking Team Impulse.
Really?
Like, simply because of one reason. Xmithy has shown when Gragas is banned, he has a very weak jungle champion pool.
They had 3 weeks to prepare.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've had the entire split to prepare. And nothing has changed. Maybe the weaknesses have been more highlighted. But I feel Rush, he's a carnivore. And I feel like Xmithy is a vegan, in a way, the way he jungles. Nautilus, Gragas, they don't want to battle. And with that in mind, I think Rush will eat him alive.
All right, wow, we will see. Our coverage begins at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, so don't be late until then. It's time for us to log off as the North American LCS team takes over for CLG versus Team Impulse. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll meet you right back here for another day of playoff action tomorrow.
Without further ado, it is time to hit the rift and find out which team will advance to the Summer Playoff Finals. Red buff connects, as does the Undertow. Amazing Insights turn back in. First blood may be secured by Origin, and it will.
Combo in 5. Combo in 5. Don't come to me. We can dash already. I can win.
Yes!
Good job.
And in 35 minutes, explosively dismantle H2K. Amazing gets in a knockup. That's a 4-man after the tunnel. Niels is in trouble. He's low, but he's hopping backwards. He's kiting. He's surviving.
Engage coming in.
Peel and fight. Niels is taunted. The shockwave is on Niels. He gets knocked up as well as the wild growth, but Peke was able to solo shot it. Origin go 2-0 in their first semi-final of the Summer Splits.
Good luck, Yoma.
Maima?
Yoma.
Yoma. Yomato Cannon. Yomato.
Oh, lol.
LMO, guys. Lol.
FMO.
Oh, I wanna dance with somebody.
Come on and dance.
I wanna feel the heat with somebody.
Oh. That does count. Kill credit goes to Amazing. Cocoon into knockup.
Go, Elisa. Elisa Rumble. Rumble.
Connection.
Kill this.
H2K will be pushing us to game number 4. One last chance for H2K. Ryu says, peace out, bro. Do not want. Glacial Fisher comes down from Miffy as all of H2K have started to group up. Origin, they were going to Stockholm. Now they're going to Stockholm in the finals.